Welcome to our latest installment of Don't Come Here, Stories of the Treasure Coast, where we will be joined by the finest of representatives from Martin, St. Lucie, and Indian River County, and we'll bring you the word on the street. As your host of this podcast and a Treasure Coast resident for more than 3 decades, Dano has a message for you. The word is out, friends. The aqua-colored gin clear waters with incredible eateries, fishing, shopping, amenities, beaches, and most excellent weather is no longer a secret. I'm sorry to say it. For one, the beauty of Martin, St. Lucie, and Indian River counties, those that make up the Treasure Coast, well, it couldn't hide forever. But secondly, there's a great team of county directors, officers, and representatives that have been assembled to make all of these provisions that the Treasure Coast offers available, inviting, and accommodating. And it's unfortunate that the word is out. One of the outreach programs is this wildly popular and globally stretching podcast, I might add. And I thought it would be a really cool idea to sit down and pick the brains behind Don't Come Here, Stories of the Treasure Coast. So, speaking of those listening and watching, give us a like, give us a share, and please subscribe to this podcast. Let's welcome our county representatives from Martin County, Narissa Okiye, and representing St. Lucie County, Charlotte Byerly.
Good morning.
And representing Indian River County, Kirk Fennell.
Hello.
Yeah, all right, we got that done. Hi, gang. And from a behind-the-scenes perspective, let's have it straight from the proverbial tap, if you don't mind. As somebody who continues to take to the streets, asking a lot of questions of our tourists and testing the knowledge of said fine tourists, the number one question people ask me is now going to defer to you. And even before the interviewing takes place, it's a simple introduction. Hi, I'm Dano. I host a podcast called Don't Come Here, Stories of the Treasure Coast. And I'd be wondering if you'd be willing to answer a few questions for us. And a resounding yes, and usually through smiles and an eyebrow lifted, they say, "What's the name again?" And I repeat to them, Don't Come Here, Stories of the Treasure Coast. So who came up with that? It's a standout name, but who dropped that little nugget in the brainstorming session and slammed the brakes on that truck?
Well, we were very fortunate. Several years ago, Visit Florida was looking at regional partnerships. And here on the Treasure Coast, we have a very strong regional partnership, and we work very well together. And so they helped us with our branding initiatives, and with that, they had several, anytime you work with an agency, they give you some guidelines, some possible campaigns, and this is one of the ones that was presented. Originally, we liked it, but we put it on the back burner.
Okay.
But especially during the pandemic, it became very important to tell the stories of what makes us so different. So we all have very tiny budgets. We're surrounded by much larger destinations.
Sure.
With much larger budgets, huge budgets.
Understood.
And so we wanted it to really be kind of a tongue-in-cheek approach, and it's don't come here unless you like stunning sunsets and sunrises, unless you like locally sourced cuisine, unless you like miles of parks and beautiful beaches. So it's a don't come here unless.
Yeah.
Don't come here if you like long lines, if you like theme parks. We're not the place for you, because we're not the place for everybody. We don't want to be. We want to attract the right type of visitor that's looking for a hidden gem, which we are.
Coming out of the pandemic, like Narissa mentioned, we knew there was going to be a huge influx of ads out from every destination, and we wanted our messages to stand out from the others. So saying don't come here, I think makes people stop and wonder, what's this about? So
it really is a thinker. And if you're going to capture people's attention, make them think a little. And that's exactly what I found out as we were asking questions of some of our tourists, our fine tourists on the street. And once you explain it to them, they smile away and they answer questions. It's fantastic. They love it here just as much as we do living here. So there is that. And well, since we're talking to Charlotte Byerly, one of the sauciest of the Brilliance team, the director of our tourism and marketing for St. Lucie County. Yes, indeed. Charlotte Byerly, what led you to St. Lucie County? What was your origin story to become part of the tourism board?
So I was born and raised on the Treasure Coast.
Cool.
So when I went away to college and I moved to Jacksonville, Florida, I never left Florida because I am fully a Florida girl. I lived in Jacksonville for about 11 years, and this job as at the time it was tourism manager, became available, and I knew I wanted to move back home because for all the reasons people live here and love it here is why I wanted to move back and raise my family. So this job became available, and I was lucky enough to be the chosen candidate, and here I am promoting everything I love to do and grew up doing.
I love working with my cohorts, but the operative question on the table, and it will come to all three of you, I might add, what makes St. Lucie County, as a representative for St. Lucie County today, what makes St. Lucie County such an amazing place to visit?
So St. Lucie County, I think, has two distinct personalities from my perspective. You have historic Fort Pierce, which is one of the oldest communities on the east coast of Florida. But then just south of it, you have Port St. Lucie, which is this new, thriving, growing, booming community. So you kind of can get two completely different experiences within one area. And I think that holds true for the entire Treasure Coast.
Agreed.
Kirk has cities in Indian River, Narissa has her cities, and each city has its own distinct character and its own distinct personality. But specifically to St. Lucie, Port St. Lucie and Fort Pierce, to me, are very different experiences, but both appeal to a different visitor or to one visitor that wants to have two completely different experiences.
Certainly. Well said. Thank you very much. Boy, that was comprehensive. I love this. This is a great group. And on many of occasions with this group, we've interacted to pursue a guest or an idea, take the viewers and listeners in a certain direction, and open up some of the stories that the Treasure Coast has to offer, with many more on the way. We'll turn to the Director of Tourism and Marketing for Indian River County, Kirk Fennell. Kirk, I have to ask the same question. What led you to Indian River County, Vero Beach?
Well, I mean, I'm born and raised in Indian River County, so I'm a local boy.
That's right.
I love everything about it. I went away for school in marketing, and
Where'd you go to school?
I went to school at Weber International and St. Leo University over in Tampa.
Oh, okay, great.
Yeah, so I lived over in Tampa for a few years, got my marketing background, and looked for a job back home, and wanted to apply my schooling and my experience back to my hometown, and the best way to do that is through the tourism agency. And so I feel like I'm helping everybody out and giving back to my community and loving everything about our small town.
You do a great job.
Well,
Yeah,
thanks.
I didn't mean to interrupt you there, but and of course, same question that we asked Charlotte as to end your fine representation here on the podcast. What makes Indian River County such a great place to visit?
Well, I mean, it's just a good place to unwind. When you go there, you're not worried about having to make reservations at restaurants or paying for parking. We don't have near as much traffic as our other surrounding destinations. It's just a place where you go, and that goes for the whole Treasure Coast. It's a place you can go and not have to really worry about all the time frames and rushing around, crowds. You don't have to ever experience stress that a destination can bring onto somebody. You can go and have a drink on the beach. You can go and do your fishing and outdoor activities. You can do anything that your heart desires, and you just don't have to worry about the stress that it brings on a destination.
From the word on the street, talking to some of the tourists that are in town, one of the aspects, the magnetic aspects of the Treasure Coast, is the ability to unwind. People find it easy to get down here and just release the everyday stresses. For those of us that live here, we tend to build upon those stresses, but most of the time it's making sure that things are really good for the tourists. So that's our stress, and from us to you, we are making it as accommodating as possible. Speaking of accommodations, our next accommodator is Narissa Okiye. Oh, thank you very much. Tourism Director with Martin County. Score, swish for 3. The Martin County official. You're our representative from Martin County. And Martin County is along with St. Lucie County, Indian River County, the Treasure Coast. It just rounds out that really cool vibe. It really does. And there's a lot of history in Martin County, like downtown Fort Pierce, going back hundreds of years. Narissa, what led you to this fine group of people?
So I guess I'm the outsider of the group.
No, you're not.
Never an outsider.
Yeah.
Oh no, you're on the inside.
I'm not a Florida.
You've been adopted.
I've been adopted. Good, thank you. So I'm originally from the islands. So I'm from the Virgin Islands, and I had been in Atlanta for 16 years, working on the state level with the Georgia Department of Economic Development in
I bet
tourism.
you're glad to get away from that traffic.
Bingo! Da-ding! 10 points.
Yeah.
And I was looking for somewhere because I had 2 small children. We wanted that small town feel like we had in the islands. The ocean. I missed the ocean. My friends all said that I was a big beach snob because I'm not going to the beaches up there, and here I'm always at the beach.
Right.
So it was the job opened up. We had a 3-year plan that turned into a 3-month plan when the position opened up in Martin County. Similar to Charlotte, I was the tourism manager and I'm the tourism director. So we relocated the family here for the position, and we loved it ever since. I've been here 9 years now.
It certainly is fantastic having you here, and you are one with the group.
Thank you.
What makes Martin County so enjoyable and such an inspirational place to visit?
Well, I'm lucky I get to follow what both of them said, and I agree it's the unique communities. We have several. We have everything from very rural Indian town to downtown Stewart, which is very walkable. You have access to the water, the beaches, the artists that are in the Treasure Coast, that live on the Treasure Coast. We have amazing performance venues, and I think it's really, it works well together. I mean, you can hub and spoke and have a different experience every time you come to not just Martin County, but the entire Treasure Coast. So it's a very unique area.
It is indeed, and I would choose no other place on the face of this earth to live. I love the Treasure Coast, and it shows. So there you have it. We've got dedicated members of our marketing and tourism divisions here in the state of Florida, but I think the most important word on the street would be those of the tourists. So what we've done is we've gone out and we've captured a few of the sentiments that people feel towards the Treasure Coast, and that is our word on the street. So Wisconsin,
yes,
the land of cheese. Green Bay fans?
Yes. Oh, definitely.
Oh, okay. All right.
How can you not be?
And what's your favorite thing about the Treasure Coast?
Water access.
Love it. Welcome to the Treasure Coast. What's your names?
Michelle and Chuck.
Michelle and Chuck. Cool, man. And where are you guys from, Michelle and Chuck?
We're from Ohio.
What is your favorite thing about the Treasure Coast?
You know, I'll be honest with you. I like the people here.
The people. Oh, thanks, man.
It really is.
Chuck, you the man.
You know. And the food. Yeah.
Oh, God, the
The
food.
scenery and,
You know, one of the things that was a real surprise for us was the Treasure Museum.
Oh, really? Is that Mel Fisher's
Mel Fisher's place.
That is
was
something else.
That was a total surprise.
Incredible, isn't
Did
it?
not expect it to be as interesting, informative. Actually seeing the treasures in there, it was awesome.
Barb, you're
It was
my
really
favorite
good.
person I've interviewed so far. I want you to know that. What are your names?
Brian and Elizabeth Mott,
Oh, where are you guys from?
Rochester, New York.
What's your favorite thing? What do you love about the Treasure Coast thus far? What's going to draw you guys back?
The beach is beautiful.
The beach, of course.
Water. We like the Sebastian Inlet.
Oh, I love the inlet. Sunsets in Sebastian are something spectacular. Let's have a final word from our county representatives as to the reason you should be here on the Treasure Coast visiting. Let's start with Narissa.
Oh no, I'm on the spot.
Oh, yeah.
It's a great place to unwind and have an authentic experience.
Oh, I love it. Kirk, representative of Indian River County.
All right, whenever you're ready to relax, we'll be here for you.
I love it. And Charlotte?
Oh, I'm going to plug something. And
Go. Plug away.
My counterparts might be like, oh, why didn't I say that? But if you want a little sneak peek of what to expect, go to our live webcams on visitstlucie.com, and you will see beautiful live landscapes of some of our most beautiful areas. But if you want an experience of a historic downtown, and but also maybe a new community that's thriving and growing with leaps and bounds, St. Lucie is the place. Oh, and New York Mets spring training baseball. I could go on and on and on, but
We could list. It could take hours to get through all of the amenities that are available. Do love to catch a good baseball game, though, for sure. And with that, I'll say thank you very much for all your representation. You guys make this machine run smoothly. And those that visit here, always with a smile on your face, you've witnessed that. Thank you for being a part of the Treasure Coast's favorite podcast. Give us a like, a share. Please subscribe to our podcast. And I'm your host, Dano. Take care for now. And remember, don't come here, but enjoy these stories of the Treasure Coast.